More, more. So spontaneous. Makes a person feel loved. This is the final program of the series, what they call a compilation. You know, they gather together all the untidy bits and stick them together and pretend it's a program. It can be called a macedon or a melange or indeed a mess if you like. Some people might be kind enough to call it the best of Wogan, if indeed there had been a good or a better. I prefer to call it the worst of Wogan, but they haven't got much of a sense of humor around here. Anyway, what I'm hoping to show you in the next 45 minutes or so are some of the people that you liked best in our Wogan series. We're very lucky with the people who were willing to come along and be talked to. The first program, for instance, started with Rigg and finished with Ronnie Barker. I was going to ask you about the varicose in various parts. In the course of
how do you spell that?
In the course of your television series. My God, I'll get this question out if it kills me. In the course of your television series.
Yes? In the course of my television series,
I remember talking...
What was the first half of the question?
I remember Why are my questions longer than your answers? Beryl Reid telling me that when she starts to take on a character... No, she didn't tell me now.
I thought she'd come on.
She said she starts from the shoes. She gets a pair of shoes and builds the character from the shoes.
She's told me that, yes, it's true, yes. Because she hobbles about the house in the shoes.
Never mind that. How do you construct a character? Do you take it from the shoes
I start with the voice.
Underwear?
The voice. I think of the voice first. I think, you know, I just like to hear the sound of the voice or whatever it is, you know. Or, you know, Fletcher, I mean, you know, nap off. That's my expression. That's Fletcher's expression, you know, nap off. It's not
Princess Anne.
No. Nap off, son, go on. Yeah. And then from the voice comes the face, I think. The Welsh one, you know, Welsh, you see. Your eyes go like that. I think accents come... I don't know if it's accents cause the shape of the face or the shape of the face. I think it's the shape of the face that causes the accent. I think because French people are their faces under there. Scottish people, if you all put your face like that and speak normally, you sound quite Scottish, you know. What about Irish?
You don't do... Wogan is saying you're not all that... Irish people are very soft, gentle, and handsome faces, and so, you know...
Oh, sure, no,
that's very easy to us. But I notice you don't do much of the old Irish accent. Why is that?
No, I don't do much of the accent.
I like you because you're a very well set up man.
Fat, you know.
Like myself. You know this latest thing about keeping fit, and we've all seen Harry Seacombe.
Harry Seacombe now, as lots 4 stone, he weighs exactly the same as me now. 14 stone 10. He is the same height as me, but I now look twice as big as him, don't I? We are the same. We are the... Can I stand up?
Yeah. Stand up.
I mean, may I stand up? I should have said. I know I can. I haven't been drinking.
No, what a fine figure of honor.
But you see, I look twice as big as Harry. Hello, folks. That's Eric Morgan.
Do you think if you did lose weight...
Oh, my feet, eh?
Yeah. You know, put them up here. Do you think if you did lose weight...
Yes.
that you lose some of your charm and popularity?
Well, I wouldn't lose any of my charm. I might lose a little popularity, I suppose, yes.
What kind of knots have you got in these things?
The John knots, they are.
Yes, right. Whatever happened to him?
You looking for holes in my socks? I was letting him tie them together. I thought he was going to tie the two together. See, I was playing feed.
Ah, the old pixie.
Yes.
Are you a funny man at home?
No, I never go home, no. Sometimes I'm funny. I make my wife laugh. She'd laugh to see a pudding crawl, as they say.
Well, that's the essence of a happy marriage, as long as you can make your wife laugh.
Oh, yes. Well, I made her laugh the first night.
You're looking, if I may say so, spectacularly demure.
I sewed everyone on myself.
I'm sure you did.
I was up till 3 o'clock this morning, you know. Stitching them on.
We haven't seen a lot of you. It's because of motherhood, isn't it?
I've been having a baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
For how long?
Oh, 10 months.
The usual. Well, you made it sound as if it had gone on for some years, you wanted to.
Oh, well, it seemed to at the end, so I must say. Yes, I've been having a baby, so I thought I would concentrate on having a baby. And,
How are you coping with motherhood?
well, it's all right. It's not so good at 3 o'clock in the morning, is it 3 o'clock in the afternoon? But it's nice. I like it. And I'm staggered by the change it has wrought in me.
Do you know, I was saying, when I saw you earlier on today, I said, my hat, there's been some changes wrought in Pam.
It really has been a revelation to me, because I must admit I wasn't that impressed with children. I mean, I got on and worked with the children I came in contact with, but I wasn't that keen on having one of my own. But now I find I'm quite besotted with him, and I find myself saying, whose his fat little leggies are these? And all the things that I've scoffed at before. I used to see people at the zoo saying, look, it's a horsey. Look. And I used to think, oh, why don't they say horse? And I find now I'm doing just the same thing. Look, yes, except we haven't got any horses.
You said that you were a little old to start a family. Did you have any qualms about starting a family?
Well, lots of people were surprised when I started a family, including myself. Including myself. But, yes, did I have any qualms?
Yeah. Did you feel, I wonder if I want a baby?
It was a bit of a surprise, to tell you the truth. I mean, I know it won't go any further, so I don't mind telling you the truth. It was a bit of a surprise, but it was quite one of the nicest surprises I've ever had.
So how are you coping with motherhood and writing?
Oh,
I'm very glad I asked that question. Thank heaven you didn't come prepared. How many pages have you got there?
oh, reams. I got reams of it. Here,
Let
here's
yourself
one.
go.
I wrote this afternoon. Look, I drove up to the BBC, all in me Sunday best, and there I saw a figure beating wildly at its chest. It was a naked woman, and her lips were flecked with foam, saying, I must have Terry Wogan. Well, Jimmy Young's gone home.
How did we suddenly get from motherhood to Jimmy Young?
Sorry. Well, this is...
Mind you, I can see the connection, really, of it. Well, stricken in years himself, of course. He'll never be a mother now, you know.
Would you like another one?
I'd like you to pour one over me, yes.
I'll pour another one over you
It
then.
looks like a long pour, that.
Yes, this is a poem I wrote when I was expecting a baby. So you'll have to imagine I'm expecting a baby. This dress does resemble a marquee, so it shouldn't be that difficult. This takes the form of a letter to my mother.
Oh, good.
Dear Mum, I have achieved the state of pregnancy at last. I know you thought that I had let my chances fritter past. I know you had despaired of seeing any child of mine, but mother, I have cracked it at the age of 99. I'm diligently going to the antenatal classes. They've given me a card to get me free false teeth and glasses. They've got a practice baby you can bath and put to bed. It's only made of rubber, you can drop it on its head. I'm taking vitamins in case my diet is in doubt. I'm taking brewer's yeast to stop my hair from falling out. I'm drinking pints of milk because the calcium, they say, will give him mighty fangs as he goes gnashing on his way. I'm eating meat and fish and eggs and bread with wholemeal flour. And every afternoon I put my feet up for an hour.
That struck a responsive chord, didn't it?
I practiced relaxation to reduce the labour pains, which they didn't, and wear...
So did that.
and wear elastic stockings to unvaricose me veins. I've bought a fancy pram in which to push him round the place. I'm rigging up a net to keep the cat from off his face. I've bought a safety harness so he cannot up and flee when he's looking for his mother and he notices it's me. ask me how I am, Mum, and I mustn't carry on. I'm not sick every morning and the rash is nearly gone. I get a bit of backache and my ankles tend to swell, but apart from heartburn, cramp and sleepless nights, I'm very well. Well, Mum, that's all for now because I've got so much to do. And every 20 minutes I am running to the garden. I thought I'd write a letter just to tell you how I am from me, your ever-loving daughter, pregnant poet Pam.
I used to be able to do a car with a flat battery when I was smaller.
In fact, you're being excessively modest because you were a car for a while, weren't
Yes,
you?
for quite a long while. I gave my parents concern because neither of them drove or had any interest in mechanical things. And I was terribly interested when I was small. I could identify cars by the sound and even by the look, which is impossible these days, really. I became a car out of self-defense. I used to switch on in the morning. I drove myself round all day, and at night I used to back myself into bed and switch off. And they didn't get a peep out of me for very many years, and it was a source of extreme worry.
What make of car were you?
I was an Amel car, which no longer exists now, but it was a very fragile French torpedo, as they called it, with a pointed tail. I suppose because I already saw the signs of imminent corpulence that I chose a car which is as fragile as a racing skiff. And I know all about that since I once sank number 2 boat at Westminster School when I caught a crab, as they say, and tried to resist the pressure of the water. And the little thing came off its rollers and one wheel went through the boat. And we sank, all sitting in a long line, with the old boy who had donated the boat riding along the towpath going, "Earn out, earn out." And he suddenly saw the boat sinking. He went, "Oh!"
You have an extraordinary talent, among your others, as a mimic. How did the mimicry evolve?
Oh, I don't know. I think I just have a musical ear. And I don't know why. I mean, I can't think of being without that. For instance, in this day and age, I've never understood why, with all the wonderful mechanical things and things that go to the moon and all that, we still can't get intercoms right in planes. And you sit in the aeroplane, suddenly the thing goes, and then through it comes, this is the captain speaking. We're flying about 4,000 feet. We should be going. And even it could be vital information, but you never get it. And the British Airways always end all that with, "For your comfort and safety."
You've travelled a great deal. I mean, apart from the fact that you can't hear what the pilot is saying,
Yeah.
any aspects of travel really irritate you?
Oh, yes, many irritate me, I must say. But I think that's probably the word. I must say, air travel amuses me intensely on the whole. We made a very peculiar landing in the Concorde the other day on one wheel, and it was a high wind. It was a British one, and we all looked slightly alarmed for a moment, and then the pilot's voice came through the intercom saying, "I'm only human." And also, I flew... I thought that was divine. I mean, I loved it. It was great. And one's esteem for him went up
Yes,
immediately.
of course.
And the German version of that, which I liked very much, a bit more complicated, but flying on a Lufthansa from Frankfurt to Toronto the other day, and I noticed the aeroplane doing slight rumba movements the whole time, sort of not up and down, but kicking sideways. And people reading papers were going, concentrating on the paper a bit too much for health, you know, glued to the paper. Keeping to themselves, not showing panic. And suddenly the pilot's voice came through the thing again and said, "You will be, this is your captain speaking. you will be glad to know that I have regained control of the plane. And then he went on in the best tradition of one's concept of the Germans by saying, the observant among you will have noticed that when we left Frankfurt, the sun was on the left side of the plane. It is now on the right side of the plane. There is a reason for this. We are going back to Frankfurt.
Have you ever travelled further afield, further east?
I'm not trying to get rid of you.
I'm not trying to get rid of you, but, you know, have you ever thought of going really far east? The Eastern Bloc countries, for instance. Do you think they've got a sense of humour? I always think if we could get the Americans and the Russians to laugh at the same thing, we might just be on the way to an agreement.
Well, I'm terribly British. Really. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think this country is still the very nub of humour. I think that's our secret weapon in world wars or any crisis, I think, the British way. We do possess a sense of humour. I don't find a lot of it anywhere else. You know, everybody's very serious. The French are very serious. There's always a wreath of garlic round them.
So you think humour is just confined to these little islands?
No, I don't say. I think we've got an eccentric sense of humour, all of us. Really, I mean, we're a race who love adversity. There's no way in the world that I can enjoy a neighbour's company if things are going well. we love it, we thrive on it. Did you see the pound's gone down again? Bloody weather. Imagine somebody say, what a great day. Never. Not for we British. Must be rough.
What makes you laugh?
That's why this show's so successful.
We did have elements of sophistication before we invited certain people on.
You can be po-faced when you start.
No, but I
wouldn't mind if you move your legs and know you've been on.
I have feelings too.
Eh? Just saw the makeup girl, Deb told me about that.
What makes you laugh? What makes you laugh? Or who makes you laugh? Does anything?
Well, a lot of the comics, I like all comics, seriously. I think comedy's great. And I think they're all smashing it. We need more of them, much more. But the old timers, I'm sorry, do you want to speak then?
No.
So, I like people like Rob Wilton was a great, to me, Rob Wilton was a great comic. I mean, when he said, the day war broke out, the wife said, we're going to get invaded by the Nazi hordes. I said, I know them. He said, but we've had information vis-a-vis the Marquis in occupied Vichy France that 7 Panzer divisions are going to land at Hastings. So there's me and Bert and Harry from the Duck. And we're going down to form an ambush. She said, there's only 3 of you. I said, you're forgetting the element of surprise.
But that's really the essence of television comedy, that is, isn't it? Because that's something that can be delivered directly to a camera.
But, yeah. But it's also humour that doesn't date, that's the thing.
But
I
is
mean,
there any...
W.C. Fields, to me, was a master, W.C. Fields, you know.
Is there any future in comedy in television? Is
Oh,
there any future? For
Yes, because, you know, of course there's got to be humour.
Yeah,
Definitely.
It hasn't really survived in the kind of, in America, for instance. The comedy shows don't really exist anymore, do they? It seems to...
Yeah, well,
I mean,
one
on
of the problems
television.
with America, quite frankly, and this is the greatest respect to any Americans, maybe the audience of fans of Geraint Evans, marvellous. Some of their comedians were great, but when you meet in America, they're marvellous people. They never seem to go, hi there. Just love my barbecue area. Cost me $25,000 with glazed floor tiles. Do you love it? Don't you love it? And you go, sure. And you finish up like a plastic gate. And have a good day. I mean, when somebody says that, they do this when I'm staying at the Holiday Inn. They do this every morning. They say, have a good day. And it's 5, I've just got in at 5 in the morning. Liverish.
Yeah.
Terrible.
But they don't, you see, you're a sourpuss.
I'm not a selfish, and there you go again.
You are.
You're deliberately evoking me for the sake of your programme.
You are. You are. You're not winsome.
Pardon?
You're not winsome.
You win some, you lose some.
One thing I like about you is that you cope with disaster very well.
Oh, I had a lot.
Yeah.
I think they're quite funny.
Yeah. But the Americans don't like disasters, do they?
They hate them. They don't like talking about them at all. And I just compiled a book about bad reviews, and I wrote to all the famous English actors and actresses and said, would you very kindly donate your worst stroke funniest review? And I got some wonderful ones from all the sort of great English actors and actresses. Sir John Gielgud sent in one about his Romeo, which said Sir John Gielgud has the most meaningless legs imaginable. And then I wrote to all the Americans, because I was hoping for an American publisher. In fact, I got one now, despite the fact that the Americans simply didn't write back, and they don't like talking about disaster. They put it behind them, and they take themselves altogether more seriously than we do.
But the society is based on success
Yes,
anyway, isn't it?
yes,
Nothing
it
else
is.
matters except success.
No.
So what happened when Diana bombed out on television? I mean, was there a difference from when you started the series with all those hopes high?
When I arrived, they sent this smoke glass limousine, 3 blocks long, to take me to my house. When I left, they sent the studio station wagon to take me to the airport.
You've just had another disaster, haven't you?
Now tell me about that. What was that?
Colette.
Oh, yes.
Yes, you'd
Goodness,
forgotten.
that's awful. Well, no, I thought immediate. That was last
Last year.
March.
Well, you've had another one since then, have you?
No.
Ah.
Well, 1 or 2 domestic disasters. But no, Colette was a disaster.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it was really hard work.
Why do you think that happens to you and not to Glenda Jackson?
Oh, she's cleverer than I am.
But would it be because you take more risks than Glenda Jackson?
I don't know.
Because, you know, I think of you, and I'm sure many people do, and Glenda Jackson, in that same kind of light as equal artists. And I know that Time magazine once picked you out, some years ago, as the best actress in Britain.
Well, that was jolly nice of them, but you know, fair's fair, I haven't won as many awards as Glenda has. I mean, Glenda has Oscars from here to the kitchen door. No, I haven't.
And apparently she keeps breaking her neck over them as she goes from the door to the sink.
She's so wonderful.
At least you keep your feet.
I keep my feet.
Listen, but have you not got a nose for disaster? If somebody says, now you're a very experienced actress and a very successful one.
I mean, I've been in the business now for, a good many years.
Steady.
Shall I tell you how many?
Steady.
Shall I?
20?
Since I was 19, and I'm now 44, and I'm bad at maths, so work it out for yourselves. So, and I've had 2 major disasters. And actually, because of those major disasters, you know, I've got something to talk about. Success is fearfully boring to talk about.
Yeah, but the disasters, how long does a disaster depress you for? Artistically.
Oh, I tell you, as long as it takes me to get back home. And then it's wonderful when you get back home, because disaster doesn't matter a jot.
Well, because you're a housewife and mother, really.
Yes.
I mean, I had dinner in your house.
I know.
And not only
You got drunk.
You're mixing me up with John Wells again. Oh, no, I
You
didn't.
thought I wasn't going to tell you that.
But you see, there you are, sex symbol, although you deny it. He said, desperately trying to gloss over a very nasty moment. Yeah, and cook and mother.
Yeah.
But really,
I'm not, you know, as mothers go, it makes me laugh so much. I read all these magazine things about how to be a good mother and how to reconcile being a mother and a career woman. I read them avidly in my hairdressers because I think somebody's got to have the answer. Well, for all you women sitting out there is no answer. Life is a series of compromises, and you just carry on sort of picking up little bits and pieces to fill in the gaps and holes. And my darling daughter, finally...
are you still biting her butt?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. When she allows me, when I'm in her good books.
How old is she now?
She's 5.
Well, that's all right. You'll be in trouble when she gets to 15.
Now, I tell you, I'm in trouble now. But she looks up at me and she says, Mummy, you disappoint me. And suddenly the whole situation is sort of,
You've got a long-standing dedication. You gave us a little burst of Elvis before. He seems to be very important in your life. You've kept the impersonations going.
He is important to me, yeah. I think he's important to everybody. I mean, how old was you when you first heard Presley? Come on. when he came out in 1956?
15.
15. I was still in a pram. And I was sitting in the pram like that. And I heard this, "Well, since my baby left me," and in a found a new place to dwell. And when I saw the man, when I heard him, I thought, this is it. This is terrific, this voice. I've never heard anything like this. Because it was all...
This was very perceptive for you, being in the pram.
Oh, yeah.
Did you immediately get out and boogie? Boogie?
I do like... Elvis was the great innovator of all music. He was the guy who dared to rock the definitive, and he did. So, yeah, 3 cheers for Presley, yeah.
You identify with him?
Yep, and also I identify with the Beatles as well, because everybody was influenced by Elvis, and then when the Beatles came along, they were all copying Elvis, and then when the Beatles came along, they found a style of their own, and everybody copied them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, before you do it in Elvis, do you ever wish that you had... Huh?
I'm not going to do it. You said it off the Elvis, huh?
I thought you...
Some of you let me know south too much. I want to tell you the story about a plant that grows on the woods and the fields. And it looks something like a turnip green. Yeah, everybody calls it poke salad. Now that's poke salad. Way down in Louisiana, well, the alligators grow so mean. Lives a girl, and I swear to the world, many alligators lock tame. Poke salad in it, the gators got you granted. Everybody said it was a shame that her mama was working on the chain gang. Yo! Hey! Woo, my boy! Every day before supper time, she go down by the truck patch and make a mess of poke salad and carry it home in a talk sack. Poke salad, the gators got you granted. Everybody said it was a shame that her mama wasn't working on a chain gang. Yo! Suck a little poke salad. You suck a little poke salad. You suck a little poke salad. You suck a little, suck a little, suck a little, suck a little, suck a little. Yeah!
Is TV, do you think, easier than working live?
Well,
Or do you find it so?
no, I think they're both different entities. As working live to work in television. Work in television is, there's a budget, number one, which I didn't realise before, because that's what's been wrong with me. I didn't know how to play the game of television until somebody came up to me and said, now listen, the game of the television, it's like you playing poker with me and you not knowing the rules. You're going to lose your money, right? So when somebody teaches you the rules of how to behave and when to say yes, when to say no, that is the rule.
But you think the bad days are over, that your reputation as a somewhat difficult performer is due for an improvement.
In the business, within show business, I've got a very bad reputation. Don't let's fool ourselves. You know, I know that, and I think you're very brave, you, to interview me. You see, but I would never do nothing that is outrageous to you, because I don't believe this is your show, and I've got great respect for you. See, and that's my professionalism that other people don't know about. But that's how I feel, and when I do television, or if I'm working live, I always picture what me and my manager talk about. An old lady in Bournemouth, right? Sitting down in her lounge and watching the television, and you can't do nothing blue, because you don't want to offend the old lady. And we always say, if you're getting too blue, the old lady in Bournemouth. See? And I go, you're right. See, so this is for the old lady in Bournemouth.
Oh, I love soap opera. You see, you become so involved in the characters. Did you ever watch a lovely thing called Triangle?
Oh, it's great, isn't it? Yes, wonderful. The boat kept back and forward across.
Back and forth and back and
Endless,
forth,
yes.
with almost no passengers on board.
A maelstrom of emotional turmoil.
And dear Kate O'Mara, who's one of my favourite actresses, there were endless shots of her wobbling down a sort of passage, wobbling because of the motion of the ship, I hasten to say, wobbling down a passage and knocking at a cabin door and saying, "Jocelyn, for pity's sake, let me in." And you knew that Jocelyn was either dead or crying or writing a letter of resignation or was not alone, if you follow me. Oh, that was lovely. The BBC promised to bring it back, but I've seen no sign of it.
Do you miss them when they withdraw these?
Terribly.
Do you get withdrawal symptoms?
I get, even Crossroads, I get worrying about them.
Why do you say even Crossroads? We're damning with fate, brave.
Oh, I live and breathe with them. I love them all. And you see, it's the old thing. It's like Dickens, because the books appeared, as we know, in monthly installments. And you got to know the characters. And then the installment finished. And you waited breathlessly for the next month to see what was going to happen
The old pot
to your
boiler.
cherished ones.
Yes. Well, I feel the same as you do about soap operas, but there is sometimes where the more serious critics take a somewhat porky view. And I feel that there has to be a place on television for rubbish, isn't there? I mean, do you watch television?
Did you hear? Rubbish.
You don't watch television to be edified, do you? No, you watch it to fall asleep to.
I began with Mrs. Dale. I go back as far as that. Oh, she was lovely.
Who was Mrs. Dale's sister? She was. One always pictured her in a
She
hat.
had a frightfully smart sister called Sally, who, in order to show that she was so smart, everyone pronounced the name Sally. And here comes Sally.
It was wonderful the way mother-in-law was called mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law, indeed. And mother-in-law's dear cat Captain, who was 87, I think.
How about the other series that run? For instance, are you ever in to watch something like Grange Hill? Do you ever watch that?
I've seen a little bit of Grange Hill, and I have to say that my blood has run cold at seeing what goes on. I gather, because the children sometimes behave so not very well, I gather that the BBC's idea is that children should be shown behaving poorly, and then be shown what happens to them, what the result is, what the punishment is, the retribution is. But of course a child may see one episode and then not see the episode
Well,
when his
sets
comeuppance
Yes.
appears.
Yeah, well, the criticism is often leveled at Grange Hill because people say schools are not like that. But my children watch it and say, no, it's not realistic. The language isn't strong enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Of course, in this, with indiscipline and children, the last people to blame are the children. It's no fault of theirs. Who could expect a child of 7 or 8 to be naturally good? They just aren't. They're naturally mischievous and bad. And so one mustn't blame the children. One must simply blame the circumstances. Father and mother, perhaps both working, both out, child coming home, finds the house in darkness, has to get his own tea, and so on. There are a whole lot of
But as an ex-teacher
things.
yourself, would you blame teachers? I mean, you taught in a public school.
I was terribly pampered and spoiled because I was at a public school. Well, look at me.
But the stories that I've been privileged to be with you on occasions, and the stories that you tell of, for me, the funniest stories, the reports that boys get.
Oh, yes, those terrible moments at the end of the term when one got the most ghastly reports. And a boy got a geography report, geography, and it just said, he does well to find his way home. And then there was one for writing, handwriting. The dawn of legibility has shown how very little he knows. And there was a marvellous music one at Oundle, where about a boy who'd been taught by women for 4 or 5 years. And the report read, he has had 4 mistresses in 5 years and picked up a lot of bad habits.
I really miss Liverpool. In fact, when I was there the other day, and it was like, when I go home to Liverpool, I only really go to see my mum and my brothers and Bobby's family. I never venture out, you know, I never venture out in the streets, except the other day I did, because I was promoting the new album, and it really frightened the life out of this interviewer, because they said, well, we'll go down on the main streets, you know, and interview you there. I said, okay. So we sat there. Within minutes, it was like the cop. They're all round, and I knew every one of them. And she could not get her interview done, because she was saying, you know, all these people around, all these women were saying, oh, hello, girl, how's your mother? Oh, she looks much better after the operation, love, she does. All things like that. It was really smashing. And I went to the, you know, the local, you do a lovely radio show, you really do. But I think Liverpool have got the 2 greatest. Down. I'm just telling you, I'm so proud of Liverpool, and we've got the 2 greatest Liverpool stations in the world, you know, Radio Merseyside and, you know, Radio City.
No, doesn't strike a bell.
Well, if you ever go there and listen, especially I was home, and really, before Christmas, I was crying, because just to show you how funny, I go home there to get me sense of humour back, just to show you how funny Liverpool people are. They do a phone-in thing on these radio programmes. And it's sort of first names. You have got to guess the first names. And the catchphrase is, gives a clue, Billy, oh, gives a clue. That's the catchphrase, gives a clue. Well, the first name, so funny, the first name was, all right, girl, what was Hitler's first name? Made me laugh, that's why I remembered when Len was on before. What was Hitler's first name? Oh, gives a clue, Billy, gives a clue. The reply from Billy, oh, hey, girl, you know, I can't give you the clue. I tell you what, look, I'll play a bit of music, love, you know. Then you can ask a neighbour or something, you know, I can't give you the clue to that. So he plays a bit of music, comes back. Have you thought about it, love? Yes, oh, I know now, Billy, it's all right, I know. He said, well, what was Hitler's first name? She said, Heil! There's a few more. This is absolutely true. There's another one. You know, I mean, this guy gives clues as well. He does when he can. There's another one. It was, let me think now. Can you name a famous American cowboy? Now, the clue is they used to call him Duke. All right, Billy. All right, Billy. Gives a clue. Gives a clue. And he said, the hell I will. The reply came, all right, Billy, that's not fair. You give everybody else a clue. This, I tell you, before Christmas, I was... There's another... Oh, there's more. There is more. There's this one. Oh, it's funny. They make me laugh. This one. Oh, it's gone out of my head now.
Maybe it'll come back.
Oh, I've got to remember. Oh, yes. He played a record by... You've played it lots and lots of time. It's called...
Oh, God, she's remembered.
A record by Tight Fit, and it's called The Lion Sleeps Tonight. Now, he plays the record by Tight Fit, and they say, well, that record is called The Lion Sleeps Tonight. Now, who made that a #1? Oh, give us a clue, Billy, give us a clue. Well, he says, think of your husband's underpants. Oh, I've got it now, Billy. It's the Dooleys.
I was going to ask you what you intend to do from here on in, because you appear to have had a fairly eventful life so far.
I know, when people say, you know, it's 20 years, well, and I've done so many things, and they keep on saying to me in the street and in the butchers, you know, and in the supermarket, when are you coming back on the telly? So I got a bit fed up. So when I was asked to do your show, I thought this is the really big opportunity to go on and enjoy myself. And you'll be seeing a lot more of me this year, because I was staying at home really purposely with our Jack, because he's only 2. He's got bright red hair, but his is real. Mine came out of a bottle. You know, when he was born, when our Jack was born. I've got a lot to catch up on. Well, I don't know whether you know this. I don't know whether you know this. You know, I mean, I've got 3 lads now, and they all look different, and they were all born different. Our Ben was a breach, he was a difficult. Breaches sitting in there. That's our Ben, but with our Jack.
Got the red hair.
With the red hair, you know. I mean, if he would have been born like when I had our Ben, and they take them away and pretty them up, you know, plonk them in your arms, and you go, isn't this wonderful? What they do now, did you know this, girls? No, what they do now, they're still attached. When you've given birth and you think, oh, thank gosh for that. They plonk them, they say, here he is. And they haven't cut the umbilical.
Thank you, Cilla Black. For your life in their hands.
So I'm sitting there. Well, I wasn't exactly sitting there. I felt like the winner of the entry. I did. And they give you this lovely baby. Anyway, he had this mop of red hair.
Good old Jack.
But I mean, I nearly died, because if they had have cut the umbilical, and they would have, I would have thought they'd made a mistake, because nobody in our house has got red hair. I phoned my mum up in Liverpool. I said, hey, Mother, the baby's got red hair. She said, don't worry about it, Chuck. Your great-uncle Jack had red hair.
Thank God for that.
And then she said...
And she said...
Mind you, he only had 1 leg as well, but...